The silence you mock will one day echo louder than thunder. I want you to imagine something with me. Picture a person who walks into your life quietly. They don't demand attention. They don't seek validation. They don't try to prove anything. But there's something about them that feels ancient, unexplainable, like they've lived lifetimes in silence. You can feel it in their eyes. Those aren't just eyes. They are portals. You look into them and you see something vast, something cold, something wise beyond this world. Let me tell you something most people don't understand until it's far too late. When you mistreat a true dark chosen one, you're not just harming a person, you are disturbing a force that was sent here for a reason. We live in a world that celebrates surface-level energy, loudness, popularity, applause. But the dark chosen ones, they are forged in silence, refined in pain. They walk alone not because they aren't loved, but because they were chosen to carry something heavy, something sacred. And when you cross them, mock them, betray them, or try to break them, you are not breaking a person. You are awakening a storm. I've seen it. I've felt it. I've been it. You see, most people are terrified of darkness, but the true dark chosen ones are not consumed by it, they master it. They stare into the abyss, and the abyss blinks first. They walk through the valley of shadows and come back with scrolls of wisdom in their hands. They are not victims of darkness, they are alchemists of it. They don't run from pain, they transmute it. So when you mistreat them, you're not simply hurting someone. You are interfering with a divine arrangement. You are placing your shallow ego in the path of a cosmic purpose. And the universe does not forgive that lightly. Let me ask you something deep. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever mistaken someone's silence for weakness? Have you ever looked at someone who's different and thought, they don't belong? Did you ever think the outcast was just a loser, or worse, a threat? Because here's the truth, the dark chosen one is a threat, but not in the way you think. They are a threat to lies, a threat to illusions, a threat to systems built on manipulation. They are the glitch in the matrix, from the code that doesn't compute, the whisper that ruins the algorithm. And that's why people fear them. That's why they get mistreated. Because we live in a world that punishes what it doesn't understand. But here's the twist. Every time someone tries to destroy them, they come back stronger. Every betrayal becomes a lesson. Every insult becomes fuel. Every abandonment becomes clarity. And every wound becomes a weapon. You cannot defeat a dark chosen one. You can only awaken them. When they cry, it's not weakness. It's transformation. When they isolate, it's not depression, it's recalibration. And when they go silent, it's not surrender, it's strategy. People often regret mistreating them not because they become vengeful, but because they become unreachable. You lose their energy, their wisdom, and their healing presence, their protection. You lose access to something sacred. And one day, when your life starts falling apart, you'll remember the one soul who always saw through your mask, the one who warned you, the one who kept loving you, even when you were unlovable. And you'll realize they were never ordinary. But by then, it's too late. There's a spiritual law, call it karma, call it balance, call it divine justice, but it never sleeps. When you mistreat a dark chosen one, you are planting seeds in soil you don't understand. And those seeds grow into storms. Not because they curse you, but because the energy you gave must return to you. What you put into the life of a chosen one echoes. It echoes through dimensions. Now ask yourself, who in your life have you cast aside because they were too intense, too quiet, too mysterious, too dark? What if they were sent into your life not to be your enemy, but your healer? You see, most dark chosen ones are not here to harm. They are here to illuminate the shadows you refuse to face. They shine light not like the sun, but like the moon. Subtle, quiet, but powerful. They reveal what's hidden, and sometimes people hate them for it. The truth is, when you mistreat them, you're not just hurting them, you're hurting yourself. Because they were probably the only person willing to go into the fire with you. They would have stood by you through your darkest nights. They would have fought demons for you. But instead, you added to their battles. You became the very thing they were sent to heal. Let me tell you something personal. I once mistook the silence of someone for weakness. I pushed them away, mocked them, thought I was better. But years later, my life collapsed in ways I couldn't explain. And every time I reached for help, I realized the only hand that would have caught me was the one I had slapped away. That's when I learned never underestimate a soul that walks alone. You don't know what they've seen. You don't know what they've survived. And you don't know who sent them. True dark chosen ones carry codes. They are here to awaken something in you, to trigger your healing, to confront your denial, or to shatter your illusions. And that's why it hurts when you're around them. Not because they're toxic, but because they're mirrors. They reflect everything you're afraid to deal with. And when you mistreat them, you're not escaping truth. You're just delaying your own evolution. So here's a deeper question. What if the person you pushed away was your final lifeline before the fall? We often wait until we're destroyed to appreciate what was sacred. But the chosen ones, they don't wait around for that. They walk away in silence. And when they do, it's like the light in your world dims. Not because they were your God, but because they were your reminder that you are divine too. You just didn't listen. Most people regret mistreating a dark chosen one because they realized too late that these beings were not here for long. They were passing through, like comets, like eclipses, rare, beautiful, intense. And once they're gone, that energy never returns the same way again. So the next time you meet someone who is different, don't be quick to judge. Pause. Feel. Listen beyond their words. Sense beyond their appearance. Because you might be standing in the presence of someone who has walked through dimensions to meet you. Someone who volunteered to carry your pain. Someone who knows you better than you know yourself. And if you betray them, the universe will remember. Because mistreating a dark chosen one is not just a moral mistake, it's a spiritual violation. And the cost is always spiritual debt. Now ask yourself, who have I wronged that I should have protected? Who did I abandon that was actually sent to guide me? This isn't just a story. This is a reflection. And the mirror is now in your hands. When the universe wears a human face, the unseen power of the dark chosen ones, you have to understand something fundamental about the nature of true dark chosen ones. They are not born like others. They are forged. They are sculpted through lifetimes of karma, pain, and transformation. These are the ones who were abandoned as children, who cried themselves to sleep asking questions no one else dared to ask. They were never handed peace. Instead, they were handed fire and told to make light. And they did. Not because they wanted to, but because they had to. And in that fire, something ancient awoke. They stopped being human in the normal sense. They became vessels, instruments, carriers of code so sacred that even they don't always understand what moves through them. That's why when you meet one, something in you stirs. Your soul recognizes what your mind can't comprehend. And if you choose to mistreat them, you're not just rejecting a person, you are rejecting the hand of the universe itself, reaching out to you through a human face. You see, the universe often hides its greatest gifts in the most unlikely wrapping. A dark chosen one may look like a regular person, may speak in riddles, may seem intense or even intimidating. But that's because they're not here to comfort your ego, they're here to awaken your soul. And awakening is never comfortable. That's the paradox. You want healing, but you avoid the healer. You want truth, but you reject the mirror. You want light, but you curse the fire. And the dark chosen one carries all of that in one body. They make you feel things you've buried. They challenge the lies you've told yourself. They trigger wounds you thought were healed. Not because they are cruel, but because they are coded to confront. That's how the universe uses them. And when you mistreat them, you are telling the universe, I'm not ready for the truth. And the universe listens. But it also watches. Because every action you take toward a chosen one creates ripples that echo far beyond this world. And here's the part that most people don't understand until it's far too late. Dark chosen ones are protected. Not in the way you think. They may appear to suffer, to fall, to be betrayed and broken, but they are never truly destroyed. They are watched over by unseen forces. Their pain is monitored. Their enemies are counted. And the timing of their justice, perfect. It may not come with lightning and thunder, but it comes with silence that speaks louder than any scream. People who mistreat them often find their lives unraveling in mysterious ways. Opportunities vanish. Relationships decay. Peace escapes them. Why? Because they touched what they had no right to touch. They interfered with a divine mission. And spiritual law is not like human law. It doesn't need a court. It doesn't need a witness. It just is. That's why when you betray a dark chosen one, your soul knows it. You may laugh in the moment. You may feel powerful. But deep down, something starts to rot. because your higher self knows you betrayed a being who was sent to heal you. Let me share something even deeper. Many dark chosen ones don't even know who they are until they are mistreated. It's the betrayal that activates them, the abandonment that initiates them, the pain that awakens their memory. And once that happens, they stop playing small. They stop trying to fit in. They stop hiding their power. And when they rise, it's not with revenge, it's with revelation. They become living reminders of what happens when you try to bury truth. They become oracles, teachers, warriors. And when people see them rise, they remember their own shadows. That's why people fear them. That's why they try to silence them. Because once awakened, the chosen one becomes a mirror too clear to ignore. They walk with a kind of wisdom that doesn't need to shout. And that silence? It terrifies the loudest liars. So here's a question for you. What if the one person you mocked was the very soul meant to unlock your destiny? What if the weirdness you couldn't tolerate was divine design? What if the person you ghosted was the one who could have helped you break your generational curse? It's not just about regret, it's about the misalignment. The path you didn't walk. The version of yourself you never met. Because mistreating a dark chosen one doesn't just cause regret, it causes spiritual delay. You get sent back to the beginning, not out of punishment, but because you rejected the shortcut. And in the spiritual realm, shortcuts look like pain. They look like people who trigger you. But if you had leaned in instead of pushed away, you would have been transformed. And here's the final truth for this moment. The dark chosen ones forgive. But they rarely return. They don't hold grudges, but they do hold boundaries. When they walk away, it's not out of hate, it's out of respect for their mission. They cannot carry you if you choose to be dead weight. They cannot heal you if you choose to injure them. So they leave. Not to hurt you, but to protect what they were sent to build. And that's when the regret floods in. Not because they punished you, but because you realize what you lost. You realize that their silence is louder than their presence ever was. You realize that no one else sees you the way they did. No one else loved you through your brokenness like they did. And now they're gone. Untouchable, unreachable, unbothered. The return of the forbidden soul, how the chosen one evolves after betrayal. When a true dark chosen one is betrayed, something ancient and unspeakable stirs within them. It's not sadness first. It's not even anger. It's a deep, bone-level recognition that a cycle has repeated yet again. You see, betrayal is not new to them. It's ancestral. It's karmic. It's etched into their spiritual DNA. They've been burned at the stake in other lives, poisoned by those they healed, silenced by those they tried to awaken. And so when they are mistreated in this life, it's not a surprise, it's a remembering. And in that remembering, something unlocks. They no longer try to be understood. They no longer beg to be seen. They finally realize they were never meant to be ordinary. That's when the world begins to feel them differently. That's when their status shifts from misunderstood to mythic, from outcast to oracle. from broken to reborn. But this rebirth isn't loud. It's not an Instagram transformation with a quote and a glow up. No, it's quiet. It's subtle. It's sacred. They begin to walk differently, speak less, but say more. Their eyes carry galaxies. Their presence becomes medicine or a mirror, depending on who you are. If you are aligned, you'll feel healed around them. If you're hiding, you'll feel exposed. Their frequency doesn't change to match the room, they change the room entirely. And they don't need revenge. Their existence becomes retribution. Because now they've entered a level of authenticity so pure, so raw, that it burns away everything false around them. People who once mocked them now stalk their energy. People who once betrayed them now quote their words. And the irony. The chosen one doesn't even look back. Not out of pride, but out of purpose. Their mission has evolved. Because once the betrayal has done its work, the dark chosen one no longer wishes to save anyone. They realize that not everyone wants to be saved. Some people are addicted to their chains. Some people love their illusions. And some will crucify anyone who tries to wake them up. So the chosen one stops trying. They choose peace over validation, solitude over shallow company, depth over popularity. And in doing so, they become dangerous not in the worldly sense, but in the spiritual one. Because now they are fully aligned with their divine path. No more distractions, no more detours, just raw purpose. And that's when the blessings begin to pour in. Not always money or fame, but clarity, power, divine protection. They become surrounded by synchronicities, doors open that no man can shut. Their enemies trip over their own curses. And those who once laughed, they begin to watch silently from the shadows, wondering how the one they tried to break is now untouchable. Let me tell you something very real. When a dark chosen one ascends, the very fabric of reality bends to serve them. Not because they are better than others, but because they finally remembered who they are. They stop asking for permission. They stop explaining their soul. They walk into rooms like they carry kingdoms in their chest because they do. They are no longer victims of circumstance. They become co-creators with the divine, and people feel it. Even if they don't understand it, they feel it. That's what makes them unforgettable. That's what makes those who mistreated them suffer, not because the chosen one seeks revenge, but because their evolution exposes everything that wasn't real in others. You can't fake alignment around someone who is alignment. You can't lie to someone who lives truth. And so the guilt begins to eat away at those who once tried to dim their light. Because now that light is blinding. And here's the deepest part of it all. The chosen one doesn't need you to regret what you did. They don't seek apologies. They don't wait for closure. They are the closure. Their absence becomes the lesson. Their silence becomes the echo. The karmic balance is not restored through drama, it's restored through distance. The farther they rise, the more those who hurt them feel the weight of what they've done. And the chosen one? They don't even look back, because they're not here to punish. They're here to build, to lead, to plant seeds in the collective soul. to awaken others who are still buried in their cocoons. The betrayal becomes compost, and from it, they grow fruits that feed nations spiritually, emotionally, energetically. They become a walking permission slip for others to embrace their shadows and rise. So now, let me leave you with this question. What if the person you tried to destroy was actually sent to save you? What if your judgment was the very thing that delayed your own awakening? This isn't about guilt. This is about awakening accountability. Because the dark chosen one you mistreated may never return, but the lesson will, over and over again, through different faces, different bodies, until you learn what the universe tried to teach you the first time. And maybe next time, instead of mocking the silence, you'll bow in reverence to the presence. Maybe next time, you'll recognize the divine, even when it wears a dark robe. Maybe next time you'll choose to listen,